For our 7.1 review, you should have this paper in front of you. And then we are going to go ahead and set these up. So what we want to remember is that when we are making percents, the word percent means per 100. There's 100 cents in a dollar per cent, per 100. So every time we want to make it out of 100. So a ratio is just like a fraction, and we write it 6 out of 10. So when we have, my computer is trying to shut down. Okay, so when we have 6 out of 10, I want to make that out of 100. So I ask myself, how do I get from 10 to 100? And I do the same 6 times whatever this was. That gives me my percent. This number is my percent. And then I move the decimal 1, 2 places forward. That's my decimal. It should be into the hundredths place for the decimal. The percent is just this number over 100, right? We take that 100, 100. It's just a mixed up 100 there. So you're going to finish that. So I'll help you think about it. You get to do it. So a ratio for 4 out of 5. We start with 4 out of 5, and I want to turn it into 100. So I ask myself, how do I get from 5 to 100? And I do the same thing to 4. If I don't know that, I don't know how many times 5 goes into 100, I can do 4 times 100 and divide it by 5 to get that answer as well. So 2 ways to get the same answer. Then my decimal goes to the hundredths place, and my percent is this number over 100. If you can do this on your own and fill out this paper, you go for it. If you get stuck, make sure you come watch this video. So 15 out of 20 is my ratio, and I want to turn that into 100. So I ask myself, how do I get from 20? It's like counting by twos to 100, and I do the same thing to 15. You might actually have to do that problem and times it by 15 if you don't know it off the top of your head. Or you can also do 15 times 100 divided by 20. So once we know our decimal goes to the hundredths place, and this number becomes our percent. Number 4 says 3 out of 4, and it just wants the decimal and the percent. Even though it does not ask for the ratio, we can give it the ratio. That's how I want to start, is 3 out of 4, and I want to turn that into 100. So even though it didn't ask for it, you can still write it down and then just answer the other parts. So I ask myself, how do I get from 4 to 100? And I do the same thing to 3. Or I could do 3 times 100 divided by 4 to get that answer. And then I want my decimal to the hundredths place. And this number over 100 is my percent. So next we have 3 out of 12. So 3 out of 12. And that is going to be out of 100. Now 12 does not nicely go into 100. So on this one, it will be easier to go 3 times 100 and then divide it by 12. So there's my decimal to the hundredths place. And then my percent goes, that number right down there. So now we have 3 out of 8. So even though it doesn't want the ratio, we can still write it 3 out of 8. And I want that to be out of 100. So 8 does not nicely go into 100. So we want to do 3 times 100 divided by 8. And it probably is going to have, so 3 times 100 is 300. And it's not going to go in there perfect, so you're probably going to need to add a 0 and a decimal place. So this number out of 100 is your percent, and then we move our decimal forward 2 places. So this is going to have 2 places, then the decimal, then a third one for your percent. We're moving it forward 2, so it's at the very front of it. So when you have this done, make sure your name is on it and turn it into get it corrected. When it's all correct, then turn it in and you will get 50 points.